Should you be selling Bruno Fernandes and buying Cole Palmer before Palmer goes up in price? Was Pascal Gross the wrong player? Was Sangaré the right player at that price point? And finally, is Arsenal's Christos Tzolis the best pound for pound FPL asset? 6.5 million, playing for the best team in the Premier League, and in what seems like no competition on the left wing. In this video, we're going to answer these questions here. So if this sounds good to you, do me a favor, drop that like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Now, the first comparison I want to make is regarding Bruno Fernandes and Cole Palmer. Why are we even discussing this? They're different price points. Bruno Fernandes is very expensive. Cole Palmer's coming in at 9.5 million. Well, the reason is, as you could tell, game week 1 fixtures have frustrated certain managers and they're already making this move. Bruno Fernandes and Manchester United had a shocking display. I watched that match fully. Hull thoroughly deserved to win. It wasn't jammy. It wasn't a smash and grab. No, they fully deserved to win. Now, Bruno and Mbeumo, everyone was poor, to be fair, so I can't even just blame Bruno. Everyone was poor. And on the flip side, everyone sat down for Monday Night Football. All FPL managers sat down with their hands like this, waiting to see how Cole Palmer, Rodgers, there's a lot of attacking threat in that Chelsea team. Most of us own João Pedro, but Palmer and Rodgers were definitely on the watch list. And Palmer delivered. All of us were there watching and thinking, this is more like the old Palmer. I mean, we're going to discuss, was it just Fulham being terrible under the new manager Arbeloa? Or is this Xabi Alonso's Chelsea front three going to be one of the best in the Premier League this upcoming season? Now, if we have a quick look at the stats, yes, I know, looking at stats after one game week, you're not going to get much in it, but there's a couple of things I wanted to point out. Apart from the goal and assist, was 9 defensive contributions. Now, what I take from that is you're not going to see that every week. He's not the player we buy for defensive contributions, no chance. But it tells me he's had a very good preseason, fully fit, very hungry, probably fuming from being left out of the England squad for the World Cup. And it showed in that game. I don't expect Palmer to be making those sprints. If you watched him last season, making those sprints, those recoveries, winning those duels, unbelievable. This just makes me think maybe he is back to his best. Another thing that caught our eye was Cole Palmer's shooting. Not just the volume of shots, which we're used to, especially when you add he takes penalties and set pieces. It was more where he's taking the shots. Again, this could be down to Fulham's poor defending, but last season we really didn't get to see him in this position where he's capable of wrapping his foot around it and putting it in top corner. He actually had another 2 chances which he had easily scored, and it would have been a massive haul for the managers. For us non-owners, we probably got away with this one. Now, before we decide whether this is actually a good move, Bruno Fernandes down to Cole Palmer and use that money somewhere else, clearly have some money in the bank. Let's have a look at the fixtures. As you can see, Bruno Fernandes has Ipswich at home next and then Everton away, while Palmer has Brighton at home and Arsenal away. That's a hideous fixture. Now, if you ask me, I think Bruno outscores Cole Palmer in the next 2 games. Now, of course, if Manchester United play like how they played against Hull, that prediction will be wrong. They won't get nothing. But I am predicting them for them to raise it at Old Trafford. There's no way they can play that poor again. But what we can see is in game week 4, Bruno Fernandes has Manchester City at home. Not saying he can't perform there. Of course, he's capable of getting a return against Manchester City. But then Cole Palmer has Hull at home. Now, this, for me, is where you make this move. There's no need to go now. I know managers are knee-jerking and they want Cole Palmer. He looked very, very good. I get it. And especially as he's going to go up in price, which makes it really frustrating. As we know, when you go up by 0.1, you're basically going up by 0.5. Now, the next player comparison we're going to talk about is much more closer. That's a bit more trickier. But in this case here, Bruno versus Cole Palmer, for me, I'm not touching this transfer until game week 4. I recommend you wait as well. But of course, if you've already gone there, I wish you good luck. The next 2 players I want to compare is Pascal Gross, who is very popular in pre-seasons, 5.5 million, very consistent, playing in a good Brighton team, and the minutes, set pieces, and maybe even penalties makes him a nice pick. Versus Sangaré, the new Brentford midfielder, all action, and I've got to say, I was super impressed with him. We're going to come back to him in a minute. Strange game week for both of these teams. Now, Pascal Gross's Brighton dismantled Aston Villa. I did not expect that. Unai Emery normally has his team set up very well, but they're very depleted. Very, very depleted. I couldn't believe that performance. Brighton could have scored more goals. So we were hoping for a lot from Pascal Gross. Sangaré's Brentford put in a ridiculous performance. They look very, very strong. Not much changed over summer with that squad. They're going to be very strong this season, and they showed it. Spurs, who are spending millions and millions, unfortunately got beat pretty bad in this fixture. And again, this could have been even more. And Sangaré's performance, wow, unbelievable. He looks like a player that won't be at Brentford for long. When you put in performances like that, the big European clubs will be circling. Now, looking at some stats, I know it's one game. They don't really mean much, to be fair, but we do need to look at some numbers to try and see if this change should happen. Should you go as early as game week 2? Should you move this transfer? Should you go Pascal Gross to Sangaré before he's going up at the time of recording, which is Tuesday night? By Wednesday, he'll probably be 0.1 more. Now, I've only highlighted a couple of the stats. We don't need to go through all of them. It's one game week. But one I wanted to look at is ownership. Why is that important? Well, Pascal Gross is at 13% and Sangaré is at 6%. If a lot of those managers make that sideways move tonight, then us Pascal Gross owners, we could be 0.1 down if he goes down in price. And Sangaré, the player probably a lot of us are going to want in our squads this season, will be going up. This is always the trickiest one for FPL managers. Do you move now? Get a player in who might become almost essential in a game, 5.5 million, capable of assists and goals, and also defensive contribution numbers are insane. The minutes, I was surprised Pascal Gross played 90 minutes considering he played just a few days before in European football. He played 90 minutes and he played 90 minutes in that, so that was quite surprising. And you could tell Sangaré's being eased in to Brentford's team. He only played 75 minutes. Can you imagine if he had those extra 15 minutes? I've also highlighted chances and crosses, just to give you an example of that. Gross wasn't rubbish. He had some output. Not many big chances created, but he was involved in the game. Just how FPL can go, he didn't return nothing. If he probably returned or got that penalty, which Brighton should have 100% got, I don't think I'll be adding him into this player comparison. And the last number I highlighted there was defensive contributions. You could see Sangaré clicked them up in 75 minutes easy, while Gross was nowhere near. But that could be easily explained. They were too dominant against Villa for him to be making tackles, recoveries and clearances. Now, should we make this move? Should we go Pascal Gross to Sangaré? Me personally, looking at the fixtures, I'm content to hold Pascal Gross. I am hoping the minutes stay solid because that squad in that position is a little depleted. But as long as he continues and has that type of output with crosses and chances created, I think he will return. Us FPL managers love knee-jerking just by watching one game week. Yes, Sangaré looks incredible. Is it possible I won't be able to get him because I have no money in the bank? Yeah, probably. But in FPL, you know, when I make that Bruno transfer, for example, to say Parma, then of course I'm going to have loads of money in the bank, then I can go get him. I don't personally think there's any rush to go get him. If you have already gone there, let me know in the comments. Now, this player, Christos Tzolis, is a very interesting one. A lot of us managers already own him, but this segment here is about the managers that don't own him and should they press that button to bring him in ASAP. Now, he joined Arsenal this summer almost under the radar. Everyone was looking at the big potential Vinny move, the Galacticuso move. Well, this guy sneaks in through the back door and all of a sudden is starting to contribute to this Arsenal team. Now, his pre-season has been incredible. I tell you that right now. He's contributed in every game. When I dug deeper, I had a look at his stats before he joined Arsenal. Again, incredible. He impacts games. These are the type of players we love in FPL. Now, he'll probably be rising very soon as well. And one of the main reasons is, first of all, he plays for Arsenal, the best team in the Premier League. They're going to be the best, probably attack and best defense. He's 6.5 million. That's incredible. Probably underpriced. I don't think even FPL headquarters expected someone like him to turn up and have that type of impact. And thirdly, and probably the most important part, it looks like Martinelli might be leaving the club. Now, they've had a couple of offers. I keep reading that he doesn't want to leave. I mean, I don't blame him, to be fair. It's a step down if you leave Arsenal. But I think Arsenal are prepared to let him go. They've got enough cover. Although Tzolis at the moment is the only out-and-out winger, we know Eza can play there, and they'll probably bring someone else in. But him being the only left winger at Arsenal at the moment makes him so appealing. I mean, 6.5 for an Arsenal attacker. Now, again, you're going to see on the screen, I'm bringing up some of these statistics. Yes, of course, one game week, data can't really give us much. But of course, when we're talking about a potential signing, we still want to look at numbers, even if it's a small sample size like one game week. Similar to Palmer, look at the positioning of his shots. Now, I always look for this when I get wingers in FPL. I don't really want wide players, like Maresca tends to have them on the white line, going 1v1 and then cutting in and making something happen. I prefer the wide players like this, that cut in nice and early. A good example is Palmer, maybe Gakpo, cutting nice and early at the edge of the box where they can wrap their foot around it. He's doing this. He really is doing this. And look at the shots. Look where they're taken. They're in decent XG situations. Now, if you look at his fixtures and look at the FDR, it's got them highlighted red. The Chelsea game, I can understand in game week 3. Chelsea might be a much more difficult fixture for Arsenal. But game week 2, Aston Villa won't be. We saw Aston Villa, yes, they're going to be busy in the transfer market, but that team is way off. It's actually a very, very good fixture. So don't be fooled by the FDR. I think the Aston Villa fixture for Arsenal is very good. Now, players like Foden, Wirtz, Lefebvre, Wilson, if you own these players, you would be really tempted, honestly, to move it sideways to Tzolis. Even with those FDR fixtures looking a bit scary, he's going to go up in price, probably causes you a problem. Now, do you go this game week? Do you hold your nerve? I already own him, so this is a bit of an easier discussion for me. But for you, if you don't own him, should you go this week? And before we discuss whether we should actually own him like ASAP before game week 2, we do need to discuss our Arsenal setup. Now, a lot of us are going to be tripled up on Arsenal, and it's understandable. They're favourites for the Prem. They're the best team, the best squad. So why wouldn't we be tripled up? But the discussion here has become now, whether it's triple Arsenal defence, double defence, one attacker, double attack. They're so strong. They have players in every position that a lot of us want in our team. Now, me personally, I've gone for the double Arsenal at the moment. Calafiori and Tzolis. What is really tempting me is the captain Odegaard. Another 6.5 million Arsenal attacker. Now, I'm trying to make out, is this just a random jammy starter to the season he's had? I mean, he's had a good World Cup, so it's not necessarily luck. He's had a very good World Cup and he's taken that form into Arsenal. We mustn't forget, at the start of his Arsenal career, he was contributing with assists and goals. It's only the last 2 years he's slowed down. So that's one of the things going through my head, whether it's double Arsenal midfield. And later on, Konsa coming in at 4.5 million. It's going to be very difficult to avoid him. Yes, he'll probably be a very boring pick, 6 points at max. But 4.5 million for an Arsenal defender, that's a dead spot in our teams. I think every one of us will own him. So you could see the Arsenal triple up is probably going to be one of the things that separates us from other mini league managers. Now back to whether you should bring him in ASAP. Me personally, this is a very boring response. I'm going to say you hold out. Even though I've just been talking about him non-stop, how much I love him, 6.5 million. He's probably going to become 6.6 very, very soon. The only left winger at Arsenal currently, so the minute should be decent. I'm still going to say, if you can, hold your nerve, hold those transfers. I do think at the start of the seasons, if you can carry 1 or 2 free transfers, it makes a big difference. And I showed you my transfer strategy regarding Bruno Fernandes in game week 4. That's going to be a big move, frees up a lot of money. You can still go back and get him, even if he goes up by 0.1. I hope you enjoyed the video, but more importantly, I hope you found it useful. Get in the comments if you've got this type of conundrum in your team and what you're planning to do. Save the transfer or you being aggressive and getting the player in. Now, before you jump off to watch your next video, do me a favor, please drop a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Look out for my members videos coming up very soon. I've got one coming up with Praz this week. It's unreal. You're going to love it. It's absolutely unreal. But while you're waiting for that video, definitely watch this video on the screen right now.